Okay, so we're going to try this one more time. So I already did this one time. So I've already done 50 push-ups today. But so I'm continuing with the 50 push-up per Alex Freyberg video challenge. We are going through Alex's free data analytics bootcamp at breakneck speed, at least one video per day. And the first time I ran this, I wound up deleting the video because I didn't get the sound right. So I am going to see if we can get the sound right this time. I think I was sharing a window, not an Edge tab. So for the second time for me, but not for you, unless you're Betty Barrera, who was my only viewer the first time around, I am going to watch this video by Alex Freyberg, How to Become a Data Analyst in 2023, completely free, although he does touch on some ways to do it with a little bit of money to enhance your experience. And there are 5 breaks in this video. I owe 50 push-ups for this video, so I'm going to do 10 per break. I'm going to try and do a slightly stricter brand of push-ups than I did for the first video if you watched that one. Alrighty, without further ado, let's kick it off, Alex.
What's going on, everybody? It is 2023, and in this video, I'm going to help you become a data analyst.
I'm just going to check my other YouTube on my phone just to make sure there's some sound.
We're going to start at the very beginning, assuming you haven't started this process at all of becoming a data analyst.
Make sure
if you already have, you can kind of identify where
Sounds
you are
great.
in this process,
All right,
and
Alex.
then go from there. Now, before we
Well,
dive
no
into
closed
everything,
captions?
I want to warn you, I will
Gotta
be
have
mentioning
closed
my own channel a lot in this video.
There we go.
I have videos and playlists on just about every single topic that we're going to be talking about today. I'll have all the links to those videos in the description so you can dive into those topics more in depth. So I hope that's okay. And it's all completely free. I've been building this out for the past 3 years. And honestly, you can probably get 90% of the way to learning everything you need for data analytics just on my channel. So now that I've warned you, let's jump into number 1, and that is learn the data analyst skills.
Nope. Hold on. That is our first break. I go by these breaks, not by when the commercials actually hit. So he's through the intro. We're going to do 10 push-ups. Let me make sure my camera is angled for strategic awesomeness. Got my dogs in here with me today. Nope. Not going anywhere. Calm down. Alrighty, 10 for the intro. That's Shiloh, my lab mix. She decided you probably wanted to see her.
Now, there are literally 100 different things that you can learn for data analytics. You can learn things like Alteryx or a cloud platform or different.
Not how you pronounce
languages,
Alteryx,
but there are some
I'll allow
core skills that I recommend you start out with before kind of branching into some of those other skills. The number 1 skill that I always recommend people start with is SQL. SQL is just one of those fundamental skills I think everybody should learn. Even if you don't pronounce it SQL, you'll use some variation of SQL if your company has a large enough data set.
I've got 2 little boys at home and a husband. I was a stay-at-home mom. Getting this
Online
degree
degrees,
really
their money.
benefited
So I
my
got my master's.
SQL is used to actually query and retrieve data from a database. So if your company collects data, which every company does, they're going to put it somewhere to store. It's usually stored in a database.
SQL Server
and
Management
SQL is how
System.
you get that
Love
data
it.
from the database. I think SQL is also fairly easy to learn, which makes it really good when you're just starting out. I have several playlists dedicated to SQL, starting from beginner all the way to advanced.
They're quite good. The videos are actually very short.
One other reason why I think you should learn SQL first is that a
You could
lot of
probably
companies
knock out a
interview
couple
or
of
have a
his SQL
technical
videos
interview
a
during the
day
interview
quite
process
comfortably.
on SQL. That's something that really caught me off guard when I was first starting out because I thought it was going to be more behavioral. I didn't even know what a technical interview was. So knowing SQL actually became a really important part of interviewing and getting a job as a data analyst. The second skill that I will learn is a business intelligence tool like Tableau or Power BI. Now, there are a ton of different BI tools. I can literally name 10 off the top of my head that I've used throughout my career. But what I will say is that learning something like Tableau or Power BI is pretty transferable to almost all of those other BI tools. They're all fairly similar in how they do things and how they show and display the data. You most likely won't have a technical interview asking you about Tableau or Power BI, like to build something for them. That usually does not happen, but the combination of SQL where you can query your data and then taking that data to build something, that is a really, really great combination to learn right away. I have an entire series on both Tableau and Power BI with projects on my channel. The third skill that I would learn is Excel. Now, most people have used Excel. They know what Excel is and how it's used, but
people have asked them
a little
before
bit differently for a data analyst. For example, in Excel, a
He
lot
will
of people haven't
sometimes
cleaned
flip-flop
data in
those, and
Excel
if you learn
or
Excel
built
first,
charts
that's
and
awesome.
graphs using Excel. And those are things that data analysts would probably do. Excel is also just a fundamental skill that every company is going to expect you to know. So I have an entire playlist dedicated to Excel to actually walk you through how to use it for data analysis.
Also,
The
look up
fourth
Matt
skill that I
Bratton.
recommend you learn is Python. Now, a lot of people will have Python higher up on their list. They only use Python. They don't use SQL or a BI tool. They just do everything in Python. Now, Python is a fantastic tool. You can use it to manipulate your data, to create data visualizations, and a ton more like web scraping and regular expression and 100
Beautiful
different
soup.
other things. But it can be kind of hard to learn. It took me a long time to really learn the basics very well.
You know what's easier
That's
to
really
learn?
the
R.
only reason why it is farther back. I
Good
feel like SQL and a BI tool are really easy to learn and really pack a big punch, whereas Python can be quite tough to learn in my experience, and you may not use it as often as you would something like SQL or a BI tool. If you're interested in learning Python, I have an entire series dedicated to Python as well as projects that you can build. Again, I warned you, there's going to be
Those
a
are
lot of
longer
self-promotion in
videos.
this
You should
video. I
budget
have
like
videos on
an
just
hour
about
to
every
2
single one of these
hours
topics.
to
The
follow
fifth
those
and the
and
last
complete
skill
them.
that I recommend you learning, and this is the only one that I don't have a series on yet, I will make those, is learning a cloud platform like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, or Azure. There's no denying that these platforms have played a huge impact in how we use data as a whole in the data analyst industry. They can be kind of tough to learn though if you aren't using it hands-on in an actual job. I think that learning a cloud platform is already something that most people should start working towards because in the future, it's only going to become more prevalent.
True.
Now, where can you go and actually learn all of these skills
And
that
a
you
lot of
need
those
to become
the
a data
platforms that you
analyst?
already talked about
The number one
are
place that I
moving
recommend,
to
of course,
cloud,
is
either
my
partially
channel.
or
I have free
entirely.
tutorials on all of these skills and a lot of other topics, and I think it's just a really great place to start. The next place that I recommend you looking at is Udemy. I recommend Udemy, especially if you're just starting out, because
Still talking
it's
about skills.
pretty cheap. You can buy an entire course,
Make sure you get on
course
Udemy
for
when they're
$10 or
doing the
$15.
sale. If
And
you
they have
don't
courses on
get
every
it
single
on
one of
during
these
the
skills.
sale,
And I just
clear your
recently made
browser
a video called
cache, and then
DIY
get
Data
back
Analyst
on. You get the
Curriculum
sale price.
using Udemy for under $75. So you can create an entire curriculum to learn all of these
Do
skills
not
for
pay
under
full price for a
$75, which
Udemy
is
course.
just
Don't ever do
amazing.
it.
The next place that I'm going to recommend you look is Coursera. Now, Udemy is fantastic. They have really good
I don't
instructors
feel too good about that
and good
University
courses,
of Michigan thing on there,
as a
but whatever.
whole, I find that sometimes Coursera just has more professional or better content. Coursera is a bit more expensive though. You're looking at $59 per month for all of their courses,
Yep.
or you can pay upfront an annual fee of $399. So again, it's just a lot more expensive. I moved to Coursera once I started having a data analyst job and had a bit more money. But when I was first starting out, I just couldn't afford it. So I went to Udemy, and it was a really great place to start. There's also places like DataCamp and DataQuest that kind of gamify learning, and they're more text-based. So all these other platforms, Udemy, Coursera, and me, they're all video-based. But if you like reading, DataCamp and DataQuest are a lot more of text where you can learn it by reading it and doing it. After you learn all of these skills, the next thing that I recommend you do is actually build projects with.
Okay, so this is on to the third segment. So I'm about to do push-ups here in a second, but I don't know how familiar Alex is with DataCamp. For me and what I did, DataCamp was a lot more video-based, and then it puts you into their sandbox developer environment. So a lot of issues I had with DataCamp. DataCamp's a good platform, but it is not that much text-based. It's watch the video, practical application. So just that one minor correction, but other than that, awesome section. He's nailing it. Time for the next set of push-ups. Alrighty. Back to Alex. 20 down, 30 to go. What do you got,
those
Alex?
skills. Now, what does building a project actually mean? It means taking a skill and then building something out of it that you can then show a potential employer. For example, if you went through and learned Tableau, you could go and take a data set and you could build a visualization and a dashboard in Tableau, and that would be a project. With these projects, you can build something called a portfolio, and I usually call it a portfolio website. A portfolio website is a website that you create where you store all of your projects, and then you can share that with recruiters and hiring managers so that they can see all of your work. Now, do you absolutely need a portfolio to show employers? No, you don't, but it does help in two different ways. The first thing that it may do is actually help you land the interview. If you have a link on your resume and they click on it, they may see your skills and see your projects and be like, man, this person really knows what they're doing. This is exactly what we need. The second reason that I recommend building projects is because most likely during your interview, you're going to get asked questions like, how have you used SQL? How have you used Tableau? And if you don't have any experience in that, you're just going to say, well, I've taken courses to learn it. But with a project, you can be a lot more
course
specific.
certificate's not
You'll
a
be able
good
to
proof
say,
of
well, I
value.
actually just built out this project in Tableau. I took the data and cleaned it in Excel, and then I put it in Tableau and built out this dashboard. And here are the insights that I found from this data set. It's just a much better answer. And as a hiring manager myself, I can tell you that it is definitely beneficial to build out these projects. The next step that I recommend you take in becoming a data analyst is building a data analyst
Slow your
resume.
roll, Alex.
The resume.
We'll get to resume. I do resumes, just saying. Yeah, for the record, I think that was a creaky floorboard. That was definitely not my elbow popping. Alrighty. So we're getting a resume. Just so you know, I personally do resumes. If you want someone to actually one-on-one scrub your resume, come see me at my Calendly link. I'll put it in the description. You can come talk to me. We'll go half an hour. I'll show you dynamite ways to scrub up your resume. Go, Alex.
To say the least, is extremely important. It's what's going to actually allow you to land an interview to potentially get a job. Now, if you were like me when I was first starting out, I had a resume. It just had nothing to do with data analytics. So how do you make a data analyst resume if you don't have any experience as a data analyst? Well, you are asking the perfect questions, because the very first things that we talked about are what are going to go on your resume, those skills and those projects. If you have no experience or degree, like myself, who has a recreational therapy degree, if you have no background in this, it
That's
can be
not
really
no degree,
daunting to kind
just
of
saying.
display that you know what you're doing and that a company should hire you. So what I usually recommend is right beneath your contact at the top, you put your skills and your projects that you built out on your resume. Things like work experience and education should go on your resume as well, but just a little bit lower.
I'm going to disagree with Alex just a little bit on this point. It's not black and white. Your job experience is not necessarily binary, where it's either analytics or not analytics. Okay? So, yes, if you were flipping burgers at Wendy's, as I once did, that is not analytics. You can't make it sound like analytics in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if you counted the cash drawer every once in a while. Don't do it. However, jobs that I had in the Marine Corps, in hindsight, I'm looking back and I'm saying I was doing code. I was analyzing, spotting trends for the commanding officer. I was analyzing supply chain trends. I was doing HR analytics, et cetera, et cetera. So if you can legitimately look back at jobs you've done and recast those roles you served in analytics light, you can claim analytics experience. Just be prepared to talk to it in the interview.
Want them to see those things before they see that your last work experience was at Domino's and you have a degree in marine biology. It's just not relevant to data analysis. And if you put those things at the top, they're probably going to rule you out right away.
One more exception right here, because he named a science, and because I know many, many people, myself included, who have degrees in not data analytics, but data analytics related or enabling skills. I have an economics degree. A lot of the analysts I know have economics degrees. Andrew Jones has a psychology degree. There is a lot of statistics involved in psychology, depending on the track or focus that you do your degree in. So if you have a degree in sciences, it may relate quite well to data analytics. Again, it's not binary. If you have a recreation degree, yeah, obviously that's not going to help you. But there are degrees out there that focus on statistics and analytics related skills that aren't necessarily an analytics degree. So don't feel bad. Economics is a wonderful degree to have to go into the data sciences and data industry.
Fourth step to become a data analyst is actually applying. You have the skills, you have the projects, you have the resume. Now you're ready to start applying for those data analyst jobs. Now, there's a lot of different opinions on how you need to go about applying for data analyst jobs, but I'll give you my take on it. And this has been the most successful for me in my career. The first thing that I want to mention is actually what I would not do, which is just blindly apply on Glassdoor, Monster, ZipRecruiter, and all these other platforms to just any data analyst.
It's either called
job.
carpet bombing
Now,
or
I'm not
spray and
against
pray.
this. I think you should do
Not a good
that, but I don't
approach.
think that's the only thing that you should do,
High effort,
because
low
the
yield.
chances of you getting a call back or actually hearing something back are extremely low. To really increase your chances of becoming a data analyst, I highly, highly, highly recommend working with a recruiter. A recruiter is literally someone who is there to help you find a job. Now, when I first started out, I didn't understand what a technical recruiter was at all. And I was kind of nervous or scared to work with them, but it's actually pretty simple. A company has a position that they want to fill, and they don't want to spend hours and hours and hours to find someone to fill that position. So they hire a recruiter. A recruiter is going to go out and try to find someone to fill that position, aka you. And so if you go and talk to that recruiter and they have a position that opens up, they will help you get that interview. And then if you get a job, let's say for $50,000, the company is going to pay that recruiter, let's say 10% of your salary. So they'll give them $5,000. So you don't actually lose or have anything to lose using a recruiter.
Pass IT certification exams with ExamTop.
1 second.
Offering real exam questions and answers for all.
You can reach out to.
All right then. So the point Alex makes is, hey, your salary is going to be $50,000. The company is going to pay the recruiter $5,000. Nothing comes out of your pocket. It's kind of true and it's kind of not true. And I have dealt with for-profit recruiters before. There are a lot of them in the military, the veteran, the transition space. Here's the thing. Economically, because I am an economist, that company is spending $55,000 to fill the position that you're working in. Now, theoretically, they could spend that whole $55,000 paying you if you just applied, came in, and got the job. But $5,000 of it is going to go to the recruiter. So do they necessarily pull $5,000 out of your pocket? No, they don't. But they are paying $5,000 to get a qualified candidate for a recruiter that now does not get paid to you. So if you're comfortable with that, use a recruiter. However, theoretically, that is money that could be yours.
Recruiters in several ways, and I've done every variation, but I'll tell you my most successful way, which was using LinkedIn. There are tens of thousands of recruiters on LinkedIn. I made an entire video of how you can reach out to recruiters and what to say to recruiters on LinkedIn.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it hanging? Low, I hope.
It is. It is. We're live. So, just mind your P's and Q's there.
Oh, snap. My bad.
Yeah, I'm just watching Alex's video and responding and, doing some push-ups like I do.
Oh, hell yeah. That's good.
What are you up to?
I just got home from getting a haircut and stuff.
All right. Cool.
And yeah, just hanging out.
Sounds good. Yeah, you want to do some push-ups?
Not particularly. Today's my rest day.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by, though.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, I'll hit you up later.
Later.
Abe Diaz, ladies and gentlemen. Should I ban him from the studio? Nah. Kick him from the studio. Kick him. All right. There we go. Now we're back. Had to let him cut in. All right.
Land a job.
Recruiters.
So be sure to check out that video when you actually get to that point. But you can also just cold email and cold call these recruiting companies. But to me, it's just not as effective as reaching out directly on LinkedIn. And this is just a bonus one. The last thing that you need to do is accept a job offer. So in step number 4, after you apply to those jobs, you do actually have to go in, interview, and then get a job offer, which you will accept. I just thought I'd mention that just in case that was not super clear. Now.
Okay, so just a point of clarification. The thing with recruiters, I highly recommend that you build a network of recruiters. I think Alex gives you the impression here that you should hire a recruiter to work for you. I disagree. I think that you should start connecting with recruiters on LinkedIn, like multiple, maybe 5 per day, until you have a good network. Start communicating with them what you want, where you want to go, because you're not paying them anything on the front end. Like Alex says, if they get that contract, then they're going to get paid for landing you on the back end from the business. So it doesn't hurt you any to be in touch with 10, 15, 100 recruiters. It's just the amount of time you have to spend communicating with them. So don't get the wrong impression there. You're not going out like you're hiring a CPA or a lawyer.
That was a lot of stuff. Let's talk about time frames to actually.
Okay. And that is our break. So we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is number 5. So let's do our last 10 push-ups. So all righty. So let's close her out. Time frames.
complete all of these things. Now, doing all of these things from scratch is going to take a while, but let's break it down by each step and see how long I generally think it's going to take. Let's start with step number 1, which is actually learning the skills. Now, just to be upfront, this one probably is going to take the longest for most people. For most people to learn all of these skills, it's going to take around 3 to 4 months. Now, if you
Sounds
don't
about
learn a
right.
cloud platform and Python, which are the last ones that I recommend, and you just focus on SQL, ABI tool, and Excel, I think you can do that in under 3 months. That is.
I think he says this in one of his other videos. He doesn't say it in this one. I absolutely concur. You can start applying before you have hardcore coding skills or the cloud computing skills. So if you have the BI platform, I almost said Excel and SQL, that's enough to start applying for those entry-level data analytics jobs. It's going to take you some time, which you'll touch on here, to get the job, and you're upskilling that whole time as well.
Is very dependent though on how much time you have to study. That time frame is more for someone
Budget
who has
that time.
several
Make it a
hours per day, maybe
non-negotiable
3
in your
hours
life.
at the end of the night after you go to work. That is someone who has quite a bit of time to dedicate to learning during their week. Of course, that time frame is going to take longer if you don't have as much time to dedicate to learning. Now let's look at number 2, which was creating projects and a portfolio of projects. From my experience, when you're first starting out, it takes a lot longer to actually create these projects. It can take 1 or 2 weeks per project. I usually recommend people doing
Once you
3
get
to 5
smooth with
projects
getting
in
in
their
and out
portfolio
of the
before they start
platforms
applying.
and also
And since they can
publishing,
take anywhere
it's a
from
lot
1 to
easier.
2 weeks, you're looking at anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. The next step was to create a data analyst resume. Now, in my opinion, this one should take the shortest out of every single step here because you're really just kind of reformatting a resume or creating a resume. You're just adding skills, you're adding your projects, and then kind of reformatting it to make.
If you think writing a resume is not going to take much time, I get it. It's not going to take weeks or months. Please don't underestimate the amount of time that it will take to write your resume, especially if you don't have a well-developed LinkedIn profile where you can just base one off of the other. That's how people get scared of their resumes and how they never get done.
Make it look nice. This should hopefully take under a week, but if you use something like a professional service where they help you build a resume, it can take 1 to 2 weeks. The 2 last steps.
If you want to do it yourself, I recommend one site called Creddle, Creddle. Go look it up, use it. You have a nice looking resume.
Which kind of go hand in hand, or step 4 and 5, which is actually applying for jobs and then landing a job. Now, this process can take as little as a month, or it can take as long as 6 months or a year. It really depends on how you're applying, where you're applying, and just the kind of luck that you're having with actually landing interviews. I've seen people who have never had any experience land a job within a month of starting to apply. And it's incredible, it's amazing, but it doesn't happen too often. You're usually looking at around 2 to 4 months on average to land your first data analyst job. If you put all of those together and kind of average everything out, you're looking at around 6 months total for the entire process.
I will put one caveat onto this, the hiring process time frame. You should not start applying for jobs more than about 2 to 3 months before you're ready or going to be ready to take that job. All you're going to do in that case is you're going to annoy the recruiters and they're not going to want to work with you. And if you actually do land an interview, you're going to annoy that employer and then they're not going to want to work with you. Word to the wise.
Now, I don't want that to discourage you, okay? 2023 is a long year. You have a lot of time. It doesn't have to take 6 months. You could do.
I didn't notice this the first time around, but I'm pretty sure 2023 is the same length of year as all of the other years, other than a leap year, which is longer.
Do it faster. You could do it in 3 months and just prove me wrong. But if you are really focused and you are really driven to become a data analyst this year, I know that you can do it. Now, to maybe boost your spirits and make you feel a little bit better, I didn't know any of these things when I first started out. I didn't have anyone telling me kind of a plan on what to do. I had to go out and figure all these things out by myself. And
I just want to point out that I only had one person telling me what to do, and that was Alex Freeberg. Thanks, Alex.
it took me almost a year to land my first real data analyst job. So with all that being said, I hope that this video is helpful. I hope you now have a path on how to become a data analyst this year, and that my channel can be a big part of that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe below, and I'll see you in the next video.
Just give you a little of that groovy Alex the Analyst outro music. Okay. So we did our 50 push-ups, which was the second set of 50 for me today, but I don't begrudge any push-ups. I love them. Great video by Alex. This one was from a couple of weeks ago. He slotted it back into the number 2 slot once he decided to do the free boot camp. So this is kind of the game plan of what you need to be studying during the boot camp plan. Next up, we're going to start the SQL series. The SQL videos are quite short, so we'll see what kind of format I want to do for the commentary or response videos. Hopefully Alex is cool with me doing this. If not, this video will be deleted in a hurry. Okay, so if you guys would like and subscribe to me, I am trailing Alex by just a bit. He's got 369,000 subscribers. I have 248. So you can put us above the 250 mark. That'd be awesome. Give me a like, subscribe, tell me I'm an idiot, whatever you like. Debate me. I'm good with it. Talk to you later.